Somewhere at the Bottom of the River Between Vega and Altair is a phenomenal album. If you've never listened to their debut album, you need to go back and listen to that. It's so fucking good. And their 2011 album was pretty damn good too. But I think it's pretty clear after listening to their latest album, Panorama, that the band is pretty much safe at doing what they know best. They've pretty much boxed themselves into a corner at this point, and that's not exactly a bad thing, because I don't think they've put out a bad album so far, for me. But I'm pretty lukewarm on this one, because I just feel as though it doesn't really offer much new, to be honest. This time around, I think without realizing it, they're sounding a little bit more like the band Me Without You, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I just think these heavier spoken word sections of the album just aren't quite as invigorating for me as I'd like them to be. I think they drag on a little bit at times, and they have a tendency to do this thing where they just break into the screaming moments out of nowhere, and it's like, doesn't exactly happen often. There is an ice cream truck coming by the house. I think it's noticeable enough though to kind of make it feel a little jarring, but I think that intense like rush is intentional here, because I think they're trying to kind of hit the listener with just a huge hard-hitting moment that doesn't really give you time to think about what was previously being said. Because a lot of Dispute do have some really intense lyrics that have these vivid, detailed stories that make you feel a little itchy, and it's quite eerie at times, especially on the closing track. I think matching that with the post-hardcore elements is actually really impressive, and they always sound really good as well when they're in those intense, electrifying moments. I think you can definitely mistake this band for being overly melodramatic and just in your face for the sake of it at times, but I think with the lyrics, honestly, there's always quite a lot of potency within what the singer is saying in this band, and on this album particularly. With Rhodonite and Grief, where he says, kill me by surprise, you said I don't want to stay alive. And I feel like there's so much darkness to that. Like, it's not even like, you know, I'm feeling depressed and I don't want to be alive. It's like, no, you're asking someone to kill you by surprise just to take it all away. I feel like that just has such a eerie to it. The singer often opts for like this deadpan delivery at times, especially in this spoken word elements, and I feel like it adds such like a piercing sharpness to it that you wouldn't get if he was just screaming these lyrics just outright. But then again, I can't exactly deny that I do prefer it when they are in their post-hardcore element, because I think that's just when they're at their best. Anxiety Panorama is another track with these really harsh, dark lyrics about having anxiety, and how the person he's talking about is buried behind the brightness. Just these little like phrases that he uses occasionally, or these metaphors, I think have a lot of vivid detail to them, which I appreciate quite a bit in comparison to other artists who often opt for pretty basic, surface level metaphors. And lyrically, there's not really a bad thing to say across this album, I don't think. Musically, occasionally, I'm just not really all that invested, and like I said already, I'm a bit torn on the spoken word elements this time around. Just feels like they're a bit heavy handed across the album. I just would have preferred for them to have been incorporated in a bit more of an interesting way. I do definitely like this album. I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10, but it's just not their best. I think their debut is going to be very hard to top. I actually genuinely think that album is phenomenal, so at least go back to that album if you're going to check this artist out if you haven't yet. And I still think you should check this album out as well. Let me know your thoughts on this album if you have listened to it. Thank you for watching my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Goodbye.